For more than a year, the families of those hostages had been holding out hope for this day, but for some, this moment comes too late. Hersh Goldberg-Polin, an Israeli-American hostage, died at the hands of Hamas terrorists while in captivity. The world had gotten to know who he was and his story from his parents, Rachel and John. We've spoken with them several times over the last 15 months. They join us now. First off, our condolences to you and your family, as I imagine today has been a difficult day among so many over the past 467 days. How are you all feeling now that it's been announced that they've come to an agreement on this ceasefire?
It's actually interesting because it's not difficult. It's actually finally this welcome announcement that we have been working toward tirelessly and waiting for. For us, obviously, it is tragically, horribly too late for our only son, Hersh. But we have become like family for so many of the 98 remaining hostages, their families and friends. And we are so hopeful and optimistic. We need to remember this has to be rolled out until the very end, and each and every person comes home. So there can't be true celebration until everyone is where they're supposed to be.
President Biden said that elements of this deal are what he proposed back in May. Some Israeli cabinet members have even boasted about blocking prior agreements. What's your message to those leaders tonight when, in essence, this deal could have been done months ago, which you all know all too well would have saved lives?
Absolutely. So Rachel talked about it. We will unfortunately suffer for the rest of our lives knowing that Hersh could have been part of this. Your colleague Tom was shown speaking to Gil Dickman, a cousin of Carmel Gott, who was killed with Hersh 139 days ago. Those are souls that we will never be able to bring home, and we should have. The message to the decision makers, including in Israel, is do not allow any other family to go through what we have gone through. All of these 98 must come home. You could do the math. Phase 1 calls for the release of 33. That's 33 that we're going to celebrate, but that leaves 65 that we need to make sure that we get from phase 1 to phase 2 and ultimately to phase 3 and bring home all 98 of these people who were taken, I remind you, from their beds and from a music festival. It's way too long.
We can't tell because, well, there you have it before we had the banner at the bottom of the screen, but we do still see you have the sticker on you with that 467, recognizing the numbers of days that have passed. Have you started thinking about just how plausible it might be that soon you'll be able to take that sticker off?
I was just thinking this morning, as you mentioned, Linsey, we've been advocating and changing to show the accountability of our failure every single day for this whole time. And this morning when I wrote 467, I thought, you know, God willing, one day very soon, I'm going to use this masking tape as tape and not as a label for who I am and not as a label for humanity's failure to bring these people home.
Who do you think deserves credit for finally getting this deal done?
You know, we're going to let people fight over the credit. What we would say is the Biden administration absolutely gets an A for their effort. They have been pushing hard. They have been available to the families. But we cannot deny that it ultimately took the tough talk of President-elect Trump to get this over the finish line. And it will now be more up to President-elect Trump's team to ensure that the deal as signed gets implemented.
Right.
So there's credits to go around. We could talk about who's to blame for it taking this long. But right now, let's just celebrate that hopefully the first 33 are going to be reunited soon. And we're going to keep on going all the way to the finish line with the rest.
We've talked about this before with you, but can you remind those who did not have the good fortune to meet your son Hersh about him and what made him smile?
Well, he was a very laid back, happy-go-lucky, easy-going kind of person. So he was an easy smiler, a passionate, soccer fan, was wild about music and music festivals, had a deep desire and curiosity about the world and traveling the world, and had done extensive travel, and was someone with very little ego who loved meeting new people and was an expert listener, which is a very unique quality I now know.
I just want to add that Hersh had the good fortune of meeting a lot of people from different walks of life in his 23 years. And the most touching thing for us in the 139 days since he was killed is meeting people all over the place who tell us that they knew him. We had a flight last week come over to us and tell us that she knew Hersh and shared warm stories with us. And it just consistently happens all over the place. And it warms our hearts to hear from those people.
And we feel privileged that we were his parents. We feel that we were blessed and privileged for 23 years and 3 days to have Hersh with us.
Rachel, I heard some of you said that I like to consider myself an expert listener, so I'd just like to offer both of you for this moment anything else on your heart that you'd like to share with all of us.
I want to make sure that people realize that this is the beginning of a process that has to bring everyone home. When last November in 2023, the only release that was that came together, at the end it fell apart. And so it's very important that this deal be completed, all three phases, and that nothing falls apart, and that we surmount the insurmountable. If anything comes up that is sticky or difficult or complex, we figure out how to work through it and get these people home and get the innocent people of Gaza to have the calm and recovery that they so desperately need.
I think that's
one thing I want to add is we have seen geopolitics up close, too close, for the last 15 months, and we've seen it fail our family and so many other families. But what we've also seen, including I'm sure for many of your viewers, is the best in humanity. We have been so supported from so many people from all over the world, all religions, sending us strength and encouragement and continuing to do so since Hersh's murder. And we thank all of those people, and it gives us hope that despite all the darkness now, goodness can and will still prevail.
Light is on the way.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Rachel and John, we thank you both so much for your time. Really appreciate it.
Thank you,
Lindsey.
Lindsey.